some streaming service. Meeting is now streaming live.
Yeah. I see it. Okay, we have a countdown of 1 minute.
Is it too good to be true?
It is too good to be true, and I've got a dad joke for you.
Always comes prepared.
I do,
all right,
yeah.
Hit me. I'm excited.
So literally the other day, somebody was talking, they're saying basically that they appreciate my lame jokes. And I was like, what do you mean, my dad jokes? And they're like, yeah, your lame jokes. And I was like, is this really a compliment? And then I was thinking, lame jokes. My dad jokes are lame. Okay, maybe that's the definition of a dad joke. So I thought to myself, do I want to change? Maybe do I want to, have funny jokes, like be a funny joke kind of person? And then I thought about it and I thought, you know what? I think I'll stick to my own lame.
Ba-dum.
Yep, that's it. All right. And with that, 3, 2, 1.
Stay in your lame, dad guy.
I'm going to stay in my lame. That's what I'm going to do, which means the show.
You've tuned in to COVID Marketing with Brent Kobayashi and Arthur Tutt, the show to support small business not just to survive, but to thrive.
That's right. We are live with COVID Marketing episode number 95, a Google My Business Q&A episode. This is the show that comes to you weekdaily at 11:11 Eastern Standard Time to help you thrive. So if you have any questions on marketing, business, or whatever, you let us know in the comments, wherever you're seeing this. I am Brent Kobayashi, president of Kobayashi Zeitgeist, a marketing agency here in Toronto, Canada. And with me is Mr. Arthur Tutt, a marketing specialist at the KZ.
And if you're liking this show, smash the like button, smash the subscribe, share it everywhere on the interwebs so everybody can come see this so you never miss a show.
Nice. Okay, so Arthur, we've got a Q&A smorgasbord about Google My Business.
Oh, ripping it up with a little Q&A here. Yeah, so we had some great follow-up questions from some of our best viewers last week on our Google My Business show. So let's dig into a couple of the specifics. Because there's some really good questions about what if you're setting up Google My Business and you're trying to get your name, address, phone number, all of that to match up. But what if you actually have two different and distinct businesses, but in the same location? Is that going to cause a problem?
So the answer is, yeah, it can. So the key that you're talking about there, Arthur, is two distinct and different businesses in the same location. This, of course, can happen, right? You share a location, but you have two different corporate entities or two different business registered, and everything is different about the two of them. That is okay. However, if you are just running two businesses, but you're using the same phone number, and you actually don't have two different registered businesses, you can get in trouble. You can actually get your listings actually suspended and removed and all your reviews gone and all of that kind of stuff. So a few things that you really, really, really need to keep in mind. We got all of this from actually a Moz post, or there's a Moz post that really summarizes this really well. So maybe, Arthur, you can throw that up in the channel. But basically, what you want to do is just make sure that they're separately registered. So you have a unique business number if you're in Canada, which is what you register to charge HST and do a few other things, but that's the main reason why people start with the business number. So you have a unique registration for that business is number one. And super, super important, you have to have different phone numbers for each business. If you have the same phone number, Google's going to say, same business, this doesn't qualify, and they're actually really going to crack down on you. A few other things. One thing that can get kind of like, there's brick and mortar businesses, which is basically you have, a coffee shop and people need to go to your coffee shop to get your coffee. And that's a brick and mortar address-based business. And then there is also something you can set up with is a service area, which is like a service area business. So we would be like a service area business, and we can set the service area of, the postal codes and where we want to actually provide our services. Apparently, if you've got multiple service-based businesses in the same location, that can be a little bit of a red flag. So if you have, for instance, if we were to try to split out our hosting business as a separate service-based business in the Toronto area, and we have our marketing business, which is a separate service-based business because we want to have 2 listings or something else like that, Google would be like, nope, that ain't flying. So you do have to be super careful with both. It's not recommended you do that. And it just won't be eligible. Also, one thing you can't do, and people try to do this, is, list businesses at your business in multiple PO boxes and virtual offices and all of that stuff around. Basically, do what marketers oftentimes or businesses often want to do, which is like, oh, opportunity to get free stuff, like free clients. I think I'm going to try to spam Google. Google's like, nope. Not going to like that. Yeah. If you actually have multiple locations, cool. I actually believe, and this is going to be super interesting. We're going to talk about pandemic. I know I heard you get an intake and breath. So I know you want to jump in here, Arthur, just give me a moment. So one of the things that I've always thought would be interesting is if you have a service area business or a business in general, both from a brand marketing perspective, and also from a, just strictly local SEO perspective, which could be a huge part of your bottom line or your business plan. I always felt like as a company expands, usually what a company does, our kind of company, is they look to get a bigger location where everybody can be there. And I call this my Starbucks model for service-based business. So that we have a retail store with a retail sign, all that kind of stuff, and it's kind of cool. If I were to grow like we've been growing, I don't necessarily need that. We already know that we can do things remotely. So with the way things are changing, with the economics of sort of downtown and the landscape of cheap retail space, which is cheap and I think is going to get cheaper, I think I would get a different retail location to expand my office. There's a little bit of extra overhead, but I think there's a lot of pretty coolness and brand to have, like these pockmarks of like those little spots opening up around Toronto.
Do you mean like Kobayashi Queen West?
Yeah.
Kobayashi Kensington Market?
Yeah, it'd be like, the whole thing. I mean, it got to an extreme with Starbucks. It's like, hey, there is a Starbucks on every 3 of the 4 corners on this street, right?
I was going to say, you might need to update the name of this model because I think Starbucks is going through some tough times.
They're still the main one that's known for having this brand presence that's just there. So, so I don't think there's another, like McDonald's always has been one where you've got a McDonald's that serves an area, a franchise, and you're not going to have 2 of them next to each other. Starbucks is like, no, we're going to open one here and we're going to open one right across the street. And sometimes there's one right next to another. That's one of, so anyways, so if you have a legit second location, absolutely, register that as well. But if it's not legit, you got to be cautious.
So yeah, because I think that brings up a good point that I think a lot or some people try to say like, oh, I've got this business, what, like free business listing. What if I try creating a few different business listings on Google? We'll target some different keywords, be able to expand the SEO possibilities here where we get ranked for. So Google's obviously trying to crack down on that. Now, something that's interesting is I remember reading maybe like 6 months ago. I don't know if this is still a thing. It's probably not. But there was some marketing blog form something talking about, you could register your business at a co-working space. So if you found a coffee shop,
Yep.
like a coffee shop that had a co-working space, and there was they could receive mail. That was the important thing. They could receive mail. Then there was this whole scheme about creating these Google My Business listings everywhere. Now, obviously, that's going to fall apart pretty quickly if all of these different service area businesses are registering at the same location.
Yeah. So, I mean, you definitely can register at a co-working space and all stuff. It's totally legit. It's just be conscious of what's happening elsewhere in that same space with that same address, and be very clear that you're registering it because that's your location. If you've got that as your bar, then you're cool. You might have a challenge or something else like that, but you have a way of communicating back to Google saying, here's my legitimacy, right? Otherwise, you might. Now, one of the things I'd actually say with this is this multiple locations thing. One of the things that I think some businesses don't take advantage of is when they actually have sales reps or other locations that might be home-based or might be co-working based, but they're one company and they might have them across the nation, right? Or even North America. And they don't invest into making them into separate Google My Business listings. They just have the one at their one location. We have one client like that. I'm like, dude, we have to do this. We have to figure this one out, because this is actually an asset that you have that you don't realize, because each of those people are servicing a separate location or a separate geographical area. So I would definitely look into that, especially if you have multiple locations across, a geographic territory, and you might not think of them as locations, as this is where people can come to. But by all means, you want to see, is this something you can explore and have as a tactic?
Right, because the alternate angle here, instead of two businesses at one location, what if you have one business at two or more locations?
Yep, absolutely. And that's where that was actually another question. What if what if you have two different locations for your same business? And the answer is not a problem. You register it within your same Google My Business listings, and you'll have multiple locations in there, and you can manage all of them. It's easy. We have a bunch of clients that have that.
Follow-up question from Patricia.
Mm-hmm.
For the phone number, is a 1-800 number eligible?
Yep. Not a problem. Any number is eligible. All right.
Well,
Cool.
that clarifies that. So the other thing we can jump into here is, so there's a bit of it's not official yet, but there's a bit of a rumor going around on the interwebs that Google My Business may be moving to a paid subscription model. So right now it's a free business listing that anybody can sign up and register for.
Mm-hmm.
But there's talking about making it a paid service with a monthly fee. Could be $10 a month, could be $50 a month. And offering what they say is like a Google guaranteed listing, which is basically Google is guaranteeing the quality of that service provider.
So I'm actually pretty certain Google guaranteed is an actual thing. It's a new thing I just looked at just yesterday, right? You sent me an article and our video, and it's like, this is interesting. The general paid model, though, that just looked like pure crap, clickbaity stuff. When I was looking, yeah, totally. I mean, yes, they're exploring some level of would people pay, what would be valuable to add to the service and all that kind of stuff. But the general idea that, you have to pay to play to get above. You already can advertise in Google Maps, right? There are ads there. So there is that as far as that types of go. But in terms of a pure paid model, they sent out a survey in 2019 asking what it would be valuable to. People are playing up on that survey. I couldn't find anything current about it except for people putting what looked like to me clickbait type stuff. However, that did lead me to this Google guaranteed. So there is a Google guaranteed badge that you can get that's fairly recent. And I think you pay like $600 or up to $2,000 for a lifetime, but $50 a month type thing. So there is a bit of a paid to play. It's not so much changing your rankings as far as I can see. It's more along the lines of if you can get like a star or a check mark or something else that makes your listing stand out, the idea is people will gravitate to it and would change your click-through rate. So your CTR. So how many people who see it actually click through to you. And so this is something that we've got to do, Arthur. It's completely fascinating. I'd really like to see what the effect has on for our clients. I think it only started about a month or two ago from what I'm reading. But yeah, totally worth it to invest in it, especially if you're a location-based business. And especially if you're getting any kind of traffic or there's any kind of competition that you're actually working towards. The idea of the model is with a Google guaranteed, they go through a little bit of a process with you to figure out how legitimate you are. And then I'm pretty certain that they will, even if a person works through a Google guaranteed, there's a process by which they can get their money back if they're not satisfied, which is
right.
part of what you're paying for. You're actually paying for that. It's similar to similar to eBay's guaranteed seller, where eBay will actually, if you're like, I didn't get my stuff, if you're in their guaranteed seller program and you've got the little extra badge and all that kind of stuff, PayPal, it's like insurance, essentially.
Right. So if I go on Google My Business and I look for an electrician and it's a Google guaranteed listing, and I'm like, cool, they're Google guaranteed, I want to do this. And then I hire that electrician and then it turns out to be poor quality work or whatever, I'm not happy with it. There's then a mediation process, I think, where I can work with the seller to try to fix it. And if the seller still can't fix it, then Google will guarantee that work up to, I think, $2,000.
Yep. So it covers the claims of the amount of the job or the invoice up to, but there is a lifetime cap for the coverage. So it's actually pretty cool. It does mean that your services, as you go through this, have to be booked through something that they call Google Local Services. So I think this would be an interesting one for us to dive into in a future episode specifically, but it is something that looks very interesting. And it sort of speaks to the way Google's approach to the market is a little bit different than, say, Amazon's or other people, where they're trying to leverage on top of a marketplace, where Amazon typically tries to get in the middle of the marketplace to a certain degree. It's just like, in other words, you have to go to Amazon, where Google is saying, we want to actually have a part in the entire internet play. And they're doing a lot of interesting stuff with that.
Is it almost like the new version of like PC versus Mac?
Gosh, I'm actually not sure what a good metaphor would be. Certainly there is some level of competition, but no, PC versus Mac was about personal choice. This is more about who controls an infrastructure.
Right.
With
that metaphor, I was meaning more like centralized control versus decentralized control.
Right. Okay. Yes. So that's right. Mac is centralized control. PC is decentralized control. Down with Mac. You frustrate me so much. Yeah, you just wanted to get my
I did.
Just up.
Just wanted to get a rise out of you.
All right.
Just wanted to rev you up, Brent.
So that's it. That was a really good follow-up to our local SEO episodes, which were rebroadcasted last week. So it's really neat that we got some engagement with that rebroadcast. I loved it.
I did have one more question. Okay, so
all right.
Let's just say, for argument's sake, all these rumors about Google My Business being paid, let's just say for a second that they are true, right? Even though they're clearly clickbait, they're clearly false, it's never going to happen. But let's just say for a second, if 2021 Google comes out and says, all right, it's now going to be $50 a month for your Google My Business listing. Okay. What would your stance on that be? Okay. Would you sign up and would you pay for it, or would you?
Okay, so let's just sort of, we're going to go forward a little bit. So first of all, we've certainly seen this many, many, many times happening where something that's free is really free to build an audience and to generate value. And then it's switched to paid, or at least the value that you're getting out of it is throttled unless you start to pay. So the stereotypical one with that is Facebook. So Facebook business pages were free, and the stuff you posted showed up in people's timelines like all the time. Like it was really, people built entire businesses, 6-figure or more businesses off of the whole thing, that I can post content on Facebook and reach thousands and thousands and thousands of people because they're all my fans and they want to have my content. And then of course, Facebook said,
no,
we gave you lots of value. That's great. We built up this sort of infrastructure on business pages because we wanted to make sure that you really understood what it is that we're delivering to you, as in literally your livelihood. Great. Now, if you want to reach them, you have to pay us. So there will be, to a certain degree, something like that in the future. This Google Guaranteed is one of those things. They're trying to bring you into their marketplace and create a marketplace in many cases. If people were not participating in Google My Business and posting and doing all that kind of stuff and getting value out of it, then they wouldn't have a business. So if they started off and said, hey, we're going to do this thing on our search engine, and you know what? We want to charge you $10 a month. Eventually, in a year or so, you might get some value out of it. It wouldn't work. So it's a common model. So yes, there is definitely money in the future with Google My Business because it's being successful and it's bringing value to businesses. And if it's bringing value to businesses, businesses want to keep that value. And so therefore there will be some sort of money. It might be just Google Guaranteed. It might be something else, right? Certainly Google Shopping and the way Google works with all of the airlines and all that kind of stuff is all happening. And so the answer is typically, yeah, of course. You pay to be in any marketplace where it makes sense. I have no philosophical problem with Google wanting to charge for value that they're giving. Yeah. Now, I might want to do other things so that I'm not solely dependent on one ecosystem. Like that's a big thing. So you do want to diversify your marketing, 100%. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Because I've seen some clients like the percentage of their revenue that comes from Google.
You're laughing because we got a little chat here, like drug dealer logic. The first taste is free. Then when you're hooked, the price goes up.
It's I was thinking that, but for some reason I decided to try to keep things PG.
No, I mean, listen, like, okay, yeah. So businesses are hooked on getting results. Like, yeah, you want to get your money in and you want to service your clients and you want to have the impact that you want to have on this world. And this is a way of doing it. There's a lot of people that have said like, it's a very entrepreneurial field being a dealer. Okay. Now let's turn it to something like, I don't know, marketing. Just one tier down from the moral. You
said meth or marketing.
Oh yes, this show was going to be at one point
officially now meth or marketing.
Yeah. So I really was like, so one of my show names, and maybe it'll come up in the future, was Meth or Marketing, which is basically, listen, I get that the internet has been so much promise has gone into that you're going to make bang. Is it bang? Bank. Thanks. Jeez. So boomer millennial. You're going to make bank like a drug dealer. Just do all these marketing things and you're going to be like rolling in it. And so if you really want to be rolling in it, you have either choice. You want meth or do you want marketing? And let's make the marketing work for you in the way it's supposed to. As in, you do SEO and you're going to get top this and you get it thousands and hundreds of thousands. And you know what? Take a look at my Lamborghini, all of that kind of stuff. Sometimes it seems that's the only choice you have.
Meth drop. Yeah. That was a pen, by the way. It wasn't actually meth.
Sure. All right, everybody. Okay, I think we need to book it or get out of here or whatever the term is. Okay, let's get out before it goes any further, right? All right.
You've tuned in to COVID Marketing with Brent Kobayashi and Arthur Touch, the show to support small business not just to survive, but to thrive.
That's right. That's episode number 95, a Q&A episode about the Google My Business drug that us local businesses are on. Like, what are we going to do without it? We really, really want our clients, right? Badly. So I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you tomorrow on COVID Marketing, not Method Marketing. We're not changing the name. That's not what we're changing the name to. Have a great time. Ciao.
Here we go. We'll see you tomorrow. And let's cut it.